Hello, Internet. Welcome to Ask Wildman, an open Q&A produced by Wildman Web Solutions. Me and my team are here to answer your questions about technology, marketing, advertising, anything else you want to ask us. We are here. So please throw your questions in the comments below if you have them, or if you're watching this later, you're not catching this live, please email your questions to askwildman@wildmanweb.com. I've got that address scrolling below me here. We are back. Thank you for sticking with us. We took a week off last week. We had Mike out on vacation, a bunch of other client work and everything. So we did take the week off last week, but usually we are doing this every week, every Wednesday at 11 o'clock, live streaming to our Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Twitch account. So Wednesdays at 11, pick your poison, jump on, watch us live, and get your questions answered. I know we have a couple of lined up for today that we're going to be talking about. We finally have Mike back from vacation. He'll be joining us here in just a minute. But if you do have any questions, again, we're a digital marketing agency. So any questions about marketing, advertising, technology, about running a business, or you just want to ask us about how our day is going. I know I can see Jeff on here. Hello, Jeff. Back from his mountain hideaway. I'll be heading out there in a couple of months, so I'm jealous. But he's usually asking Mike some question about golf or something that I don't know anything about. So you can feel free to follow in his footsteps here. Jump in the comments below and ask us about anything you want. All right, pulling up our first questions here as we get going. Actually, we may have someone joining. You good to go? Thumbs up. Yes, here we have Mike Hanna. Welcome back, Mike.
Good morning, Miles. How in the heck are we doing today?
I'm good. I'm happy to be back live streaming here.
Yes.
Feels like it's been a couple of weird weeks of in and out and different people and all sorts of different stuff. It's good to be just back in the seat and talking.
It's good to be back here with you. I know I left you hanging a few times over the last few weeks.
I know you're the talker. I don't know. Like, this is your job. This is your whole job.
Yeah, it's my whole job, and I've been MIA for weeks. But hey, I'm back. I'm caffeinated, and I got stories, Miles. So
good.
You're in for a treat today.
All right. Well, sorry in advance for all of Mike's stories, viewers out there. But yeah, again, this is an open Q&A. We're here to answer your questions and talk with you. Don't want this to just be a one-way thing. Love to have your engagement here. And if you think we're putting out good information, we're answering some good questions, giving you some value here, please give this a like, share, follow, depending on what platform you're watching this on. That does help us to reach more people and hopefully provide some more value, answer some more questions. But yeah, you know what to do. All right. That being said, I did have one specific question that came in I wanted to tackle. It's a little bit technical, but it's a really good point that I realized probably a lot of people don't really know about. Just came in a few days ago. And so I wanted to hit that right off the top, and then maybe we can jump to one of your vacation stories here, Mike. So I had someone reach out to me again a few days ago with this kind of weird question. They were saying, hey, I built this website out. It's mobile friendly. I pull it up on my phone. It looks nice. It runs well. And then I do Google's mobile friendly checker. They have a tool. You can search for that. Maybe I'll put a link in the description here to see if your website counts as well. And I got a really poor rating. It said that my website wasn't mobile friendly. It even gave me a screenshot of what Google was seeing, and it wasn't my website at all. It was all jumbled. It was the wrong colors and fonts, and it didn't look right at all. You couldn't really read anything. It said it took a long time to load. I don't understand what's happening here. Can you help? So, of course, I jumped in there and took a look at the report and the links they were sending me and everything, and realized pretty quickly what was going on here. And that is that there's a difference between when you look at a website on a phone and a bot like Google looks at a website. When you're coming into a website as a bot or a crawler or a search engine or one of those automatic reporters or something, your website is going to see that not as an actual human coming in, but as a bot. And there's a couple of things there's a lot of things that a bot checks when it goes to a website, but one of the two big ones are the sitemap and the robots file. I know this gets a little bit technical here, but it's really easy, and it's a big one for people to check on here and make sure that these bots can actually see their website properly, because bots aren't just spam bots or anything like that. I know that's what people really think of when they hear bots, but we're talking Google's crawlers too. This is the main search engine. This is how they see your site, and if Google is not recognizing your site as mobile friendly, then that's a major problem. So when a bot comes to your website, it looks for those two files. The sitemap is exactly what it sounds like. It's a map of your website. It shows the bot what pages are there and how to get to those pages. So if you want a search engine or a bot or a crawler to find a page on your website, you have to make sure that it is properly linked in your sitemap. On the flip side, there's the robots file. The robots file is specifically just for bots. It's not really for anything else. It just tells bots how to use this site, and it will tell them what to look at, what not to look at. And in this case, that's what was messed up here. The person's robots file was set up incredibly defensively to block all bots from seeing anything on the website at all, which is obviously a bit too much. Now, this is just robots.txt. It's a text file. Sitemap 2 is just an XML file. So it's easily readable by humans. If you go onto your website right now and you go into the file structure, you should see a bunch of .htmls or .aspx or something like that, and then a couple of txt files and XML files. One of those will be robots.txt and one of them will be sitemap.xml, usually. You can open those up and see exactly what I'm talking about here. And if you want to do a quick search and find a less restrictive robots.txt file, or reach out and talk to a technical professional to have them fix it up for you, those are probably the easiest ways to address this. But if you are running a checker like that, and for some reason is kicking back weird answers saying, hey, this bot can't see your website, then those are probably the first places to check. Or if you're building a new website, you really want to make sure that you are checking in on your sitemap and your robots file. If you don't know how to do that, you're not comfortable accessing these files, then again, reach out to your web developer, your local technical professional. They should be able to jump in there and help you out, no problem. So that's just a really quick and easy win that people can jump in there and check on their websites, and make sure that bots and crawlers and search engines are properly indexing their site. They're seeing the pages that you want them to see, and they're not seeing the pages that you don't want them to see, because there are good reasons to block certain sections from bots, and that's what that system or what these files exist for. So just wanted to answer that one here right off the top. I know it's a little technical, a little bit boring, but again, it's a quick, easy win, and it can really screw people if they don't know what to look for. If you want me to go into more depth here, maybe I'll find some links to throw in the comments so people can check this stuff out, and I'll do that. But let me know here in the comments. Just throw in the comments there if you have any questions, if you've run into that problem before, or if you're having other similar issues. Maybe describe your issue here, and I'll see what I can do. But for the time being, while you're typing away there in those comments, I will toss it back over to you, Mike. Did you have any vacation stories you wanted to hit here?
I did, Miles.
You want to update us all on what's been going on the last few weeks?
Yeah. I'll give you a couple. Well, at least one good one here, because I think it's very relevant to some things that we talk about on the show all the time. And so really two main picture ideas here. I always give the example when we're talking about skipping the search and using an app on your phone to do business with people. I always give the example of hotels.com. And I always say, that since I put the app on my phone, I've used hotels.com to book my hotels at almost every place I've gone, unless I get a special deal or something like that, through another avenue. And I said, the only time I would ever take that off my phone and not use hotels.com again is if they really pissed me off. So as you can probably tell from my foreshadowing, that happened.
See where this is going,
that
folks.
happened on my trip. And another thing that happened in this same story that I'm about to tell has to do with another key thing that we talk about all the time. And that is, it's much easier to keep a customer than it is to get a new customer. And so many times when we're talking about marketing and advertising and sales, we're overly focused on getting those new customers, which are always going to cost more and be less reliable than the customer that we already have. The key thing that we need to do with that customer we already have, of course, is take good care of them, which is really not that hard. If you know what you're doing and you're have the self-awareness in order to examine your marketing bridge and make corrections where you need, because the customer is always right. The market is the market is the market. And if you aren't taking care of your customers, obviously you're going to lose the ones you have. You're going to lose current market share, but you're also not going to be able to get new ones as easy as easy as you would like, because as we talk about as well, it's not a top-down messaging society anymore. Any random Joe can go on the internet and talk about your business and talk about their experience with them, and other random Joes or Janes can see that and make a buying decision based off of that before they ever interact with anything that you're doing in your marketing, your advertising, and your sales. So what happened? I was on a road trip down to the mountains of North Georgia to see my kinfolk, and the halfway point ended up having to be Carbondale, Illinois. Lovely place, Carbondale, Illinois. A little sarcasm there. But it was, I think, the nicest choice in Southern Illinois. When you're in Southern Illinois, Miles, there's not a lot of Ritz-Carltons around. And so I ended up staying at the Home to Suites Hilton in Carbondale, Illinois. And I have to say that I stayed there twice, on my way down and on my way back up. And I have to say that on my initial stay, it was not that bad. It was a lovely suite. It was clean. The people were nice. They took pretty good care of me that night. Okay. What happened was about a day or two later when I noticed that there was a double charge on my account, and I paid an extra room. I got an extra room fee on my credit card. Now I should back up for a second, because when I did check in, the young man that checked me in was nice enough to say, "Hey, Mr. Hanna, we actually have 2 reservations somehow for you in the system." And I said, "What? That can't be right. I only reserved 1 reservation. Look, here's my hotels.com app. It only shows 1 reservation, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're right. Well, it must be some sort of a mix-up. You should call hotels.com and just make sure you don't get charged for 2 rooms, right?" So I do what I'm told. I go upstairs. I'm on hotels.com for a hold for probably an hour and a half. I talk to somebody. They talk to the hotel there. I'm told, "Hey, no worries. We got you. It was a total mix-up. You're only going to be charged for 1 room, right?" Of course, I get charged for 2. All right. So then the next 3 days, literally, I'm going back and forth between the hotel and hotels.com. Nobody will take responsibility for this screw up and give me a refund. And I can't believe it. And hotels.com is saying that it's not their fault. The Hilton is saying it's not their fault. This is what the Hilton literally told me. They said they had to charge me for a no-show. And I said, this is after about half hour talking to the manager on the phone. I'm like, "Ma'am, how in the world do you check somebody into your hotel, have them stay the night in your hotel, and then charge them for not showing up to the hotel? I'm literally in the hotel." I was like, "At least give me the second room. Don't just give me the 1 room and then charge me for 2. Good God." What planet are we on, right? And so, long story short, somewhere as I was coming back, because I was a real sucker, because I still kept my reservation for the time coming back through. So sometime on my way back, as I'm going up a mountain in Tennessee, I eventually convince her that, even if it's not your fault, just do what's right for the customer. I'm throwing like old man Hilton quotes at him at this point. And I'm like, somebody just needs to stand up and say, "I want this person to still be my customer. And even if it wasn't my fault, I'm going to do what's right by them." It reminded me of, God, what's the guy's name that owns the Houston Rockets? Tillman Fertitta or something like that. You familiar with him, Miles? He's a billionaire. Anyways, this guy, he's a billionaire. He owns the Houston Rockets. Somebody look him up for me. But, he owns hundreds and hundreds of restaurants.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how to say that, but you got the right name.
Did I get it close? Okay.
Yeah,
he owns hundreds and hundreds of restaurants, hotels, casinos. Like I said, he owns the Houston Rockets. Very smart business guy, right? And, he's a successful billionaire. And he says, the hard or the most difficult thing in business today that he deals with every day with his companies is just trying to get them to realize the value of the customers that they have and to go above and beyond to take care of them. He's like, we put silly rules all the time and roadblocks up for customers that are completely arbitrary. Like when you're staying at a hotel and you call down for breakfast and it's 11:03 and they say, I'm sorry, sir, we stopped serving breakfast at 11 a.m. He's like, that's complete nonsense. You have the eggs down there. You have the toast down there. Make them some breakfast and bring it up to them. They're your customer. They're wanting to spend money with you. Do everything you can to keep that relationship going. And like I said, even if it's not your fault, and I'm not really even sure whose fault it was, in that whole scenario. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm not spending money again with hotels.com, Miles. I deleted that app. I left them a terrible review. I deleted the app. And I'm not staying at the Home to Suites in Hilton in Carbondale, Illinois again, because we got to tell you what they did. Even though they refunded my money, and this is partially my dumbass for even staying there again, they put me in a dirty room that night, and they put me in the worst room. It was like the worst suite at the end of the hotel, like right next to there was a train station nearby. I said, okay, I get it, guys. Like, my goodness.
They were just getting back at you for being annoying the last couple of days. Right.
Yeah. Because I didn't want to pay $500 to stay in Southern Illinois. I kept telling them, I go, guys, I've stayed in a $500 hotel room. No offense, but that wasn't it. I'll stay at the Ritz-Carlton Nashville next time and just skip Illinois altogether. Okay. But hopefully
that is fun though. Just like being able to be a no-show at a restaurant or at a hotel that you are at.
Yeah.
That's a unique story.
I said, well, you charged my credit card for showing up one time. So anyways, hopefully some people got some actually usage out of that rambling story there. But, really, like I said, the takeaway is, what can you do, as we talk about all the time, to remove hoops in order for people to give you money easier and then to be able to take care of that customer once you have them, because that is just going to drop your cost of acquisition through the floor. And Miles, as I toss it back here for you to give them some actual advice on technology and how they could weaponize this for good to help their customers even more, talk to us a little bit about apps. And how can I utilize something like an app to take care of my customer more? We talked about it on the front end with the hotels.com example of how an app can let you or allow your customer to do business with you easier. They're not going to be searching for your competition on Google or Bing or something like that. But what about on the back end of it? How can we take care of a customer more? I'm thinking about, let's talk about like a restaurant owner, for example. I open up a new restaurant in a new location. I'm going to get a honeymoon period, right? People are going to talk about me. Hey, go try out the new place, right? What if I had an app? What can I do with that app and instruct my staff, my waitresses, my managers, my waiters, my bartenders, in order to leverage that, in order to get people to sign up for something like a rewards program? So, Miles, take that and run with it if you would.
Yeah, well, your story right there really plays into a lot of strengths of just the app business. But before we jump into that, I just want to really hammer down on one thing that you kind of made pretty clear there, is that not everything is about marketing. Not everything is about technology. Not everything is about, what we do all day, every day. Some of it is just running a good business and taking care of the customer. Hopefully we're making that easier and using technology and helping you leverage technology to make your life easier in doing that. But ultimately, that's your goal here. You've got to take care of the customer. You've got to give them a good experience. And then, everything comes after that. Everything else is either leading to that or coming away from that, but that has to remain your focal point. I think it's pretty easy, especially for people in our space, to maybe get a little distracted and just want to build an app for everything, but nothing replaces high quality customer service.
100%, Miles. I'm glad you drove that point home. Let me add some more fuel onto the fire. If you take care of your customers, that is everything. You don't have to even advertise. Do you see the Ritz-Carlton advertising? You ever seen an ad for the Ritz-Carlton Hotel?
Not that I can think of.
Why do you think that is?
I think their brand and their business speaks for itself.
Yeah. They are known for
Except for
taking
that
care.
one.
Yeah, they're known for taking. Well, no, this was not a Ritz-Carlton I stayed at. That's what I'm saying.
That was the other
No,
one.
yeah, that was. This is far from a Ritz-Carlton. I got charged originally like it was a Ritz-Carlton. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But yeah, the reason that they don't have to advertise is because the brand. You say Ritz-Carlton, people just think service. They think such a high level of service that if they're not like, you know, shaving you and giving you a foot massage, you're disappointed, you know, after you leave, right? So we talk about working smarter, not harder, right, all the time. And this is exactly where this falls into, is that if you don't care your customer, your cost of acquisition goes up. You have to advertise more. You have to have more gimmicks. You have to have more giveaways. You have to, you know, cut your price. You have to do all these things. Does the Ritz-Carlton ever do a gimmick or a giveaway or cut their price? Hell no. Right? So they do the opposite of all the people that want to take the shortcut routes in business, right? And it all goes back to what that key sentence that you just said was taking care of your customer is everything. I mean, it literally is 90% of the battle. You know, it's like that old, I think it's Woody Allen quote, you know, like 90% of success is just showing up. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's really what it is. It's showing up day in and day out for your customer. And that makes everything you do, your marketing, your advertising, your sales, so much easier. So, Miles, I'm sorry to interrupt again, but you get me. This is just like my gospel.
It's an important point, and that's why I wanted to start with it. You got to treat your customers right. And you got to keep them coming back. Because like you said, it's a lot easier to keep an existing customer than it is to go out and get new ones. I'd rather someone come back 10 times than go out and get 10 different customers anytime, any day. And that's across industries, across businesses. I can't think of something where it doesn't, where that is not the case, or where that wouldn't be a preferable path.
Yeah. And what's going to happen when they come back those 10 times? They're going to bring somebody new with them every time. Because they're going to say, you got to check this place out. Right? What happens if they don't get treated well? Don't go there.
Well, that, and it's going to amplify what other efforts you are making. So, you know, again, unfortunately, I say this all the time, this is an and, not an or. For most small businesses who aren't the Ritz-Carlton, you can't make a name for yourself exactly like that. So even if you do a really good job in treating your customers well, you're probably doing something else in addition to that. You're doing some sort of outreach or some sort of marketing efforts. But you know, those two things, if done properly, will complement one another. So a happy customer will engage with you on social media, which is going to elevate your social media efforts and all the different posts you're doing over there. They're going to give you a nice review on Google, and that's going to help your listing and your search rankings over there. And again, they're going to grab their friends, they're going to bring those people in, and this is going to have a butterfly effect of having more and more people engage with you both in person and in the online space. So these two hemispheres, you know, they're two sides of the same coin. They don't really operate completely independently, and done properly, they should help out each other. So that being said, I did want to jump onto that app question that you asked before, because you're exactly right. That is exactly the product or the technology that I was thinking of with this example, as you were talking about your hotels.com app. One of the main benefits of utilizing a mobile app in a small business is that it is so sticky. It helps to get you more recurring, more loyal customers. I mean, you know, pick up your phone right now and look at it. How many apps on there have you not used for a long time? You downloaded a long time ago. People don't delete apps unless they do something horribly wrong and double charge them, or they're setting a bunch of spammy push notifications or something. Unless you're doing something really wrong with it, then once someone downloads an app, it's on there. And, you know, I tell people all the time, we're usually building out websites or something, trying to get them mobile friendly, because, you know, depending on the study that you look at, somewhere between 60 and 80% of mobile of web browsing is done on a mobile device now. But that's not even the startling statistic. People are on their phones for several hours a day. I think it's 4+ hours a day on average, for, you know, the average North American. But 90% of that is spent in apps, not browsing the internet, not on a browser there. It's on a native app. And even if you are starting with a search, you're starting from scratch, you want to go out and buy something, you're starting from scratch, 30% of those start on a branded app search, not just opening up the browser and searching for something. So right there at the very beginning, 90+% of your traffic or of the attention on these little mobile devices that people are staring at several hours a day are going to apps. And if you have one on there, if you've gotten them to download it one way or another, then you have introduced yourself to that ecosystem of just tons and tons of untapped attention. And as we both know, attention is sort of the currency of the land now. 21st century currency is attention. Mm-hmm. So apps are really good at, again, being kind of sticky there. They let people skip that search and just go directly to you instead of searching for, I want pizza near me. If they have that one pizza place, like we said, have the Rudy's app on their phone or whatever, pick your favorite pizza place, then they're just going to go directly to that and order from that person rather than searching and seeing the whole list of all of your competition right next to you. It also gives you the opportunity to introduce things like push notifications to let them know when specials are happening, like loyalty programs. They can win points for ordering with you and store them on the app. So they have to keep the app in order to keep the points there, and they'll have to revisit your business in order to build up those points and get whatever the reward is. You can use it to increase customer service or open up a direct line of communication with your customer. Because that way, via push notifications, you can talk to them directly, and then through either a live chat function or an email form or whatever you want to build into your app there, they can have a direct line to you as well. So that's going to increase your ability to provide really good customer service. Again, it's all about treating that customer well, but these tools and these technologies can allow you to do those things at a higher level and be more effective at the things you're already trying to do. So yeah, a mobile app is a really good example of something that you can put out there that is specifically good for keeping recurring customers and building brand loyalty. If for nothing else, then they're staring at this phone all day, every day, and your logo is on it. I mean, just subconsciously staring at your logo all day, every day has to help you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you accidentally double charge someone, cop up to it and refund them also. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that one.
Yeah, it was a good one. Got the no-show charge for stayed in the hotel.
But yeah, I mean, you also said that you threw a bad review out there.
I did.
That can be for something big like Hotels.com. They can handle it, but for a small business, that can be hugely detrimental. And know that search engines look at these things very specifically. If there's lots of data points that people don't even realize that they're pulling out of these reviews. If you only have you only have 3 bad reviews and you've got 20 positive ones, but those 3 bad reviews are about one specific thing, they've got the same recurring keyword in there, Google is pulling that out, and they know that you are really bad at this one particular thing, and they're going to put that front and center for when someone searches for you. So if you have really bad customer service, or you've got, I don't know, one server at your restaurant that's just mean to everyone, and they keep popping up in these 3 bad reviews, Google's going to see that, it's going to process that, it's going to realize that there's a recurring theme here, and that's going to show up in your search results. So it's not just the star value or something like Google is now looking at the actual text content, and it's getting smarter in the ability to contextualize things. So even in a 5-star review, it can pull out one sentence of, hey, this particular thing wasn't awesome, but everything else was great, 5 stars. It's going to see that sentence in there, and it's going to realize that there's a negative connotation surrounding this word, and it's going to pull that out and process it accordingly. So reviews, incredibly powerful, and keeping track of those, not just seeing the star value, but actually reading through them and recognizing when there are recurring themes there, or things that you need to look into, because search engines are going to see that. That's a little bit off the beaten path here, not exactly what we're talking about, but something I was actually addressing earlier yesterday. And it's just a fun little tidbit, or not so fun little tidbit, about how smart search engines are getting. They're leveraging all of the content out there, even the stuff you don't realize that they're seeing.
Google sees all.
All right, so I'm just going to circle back here to the top of the show. This is Ask Wildman, an open Q&A produced by Wildman Web Solutions. We're here to answer your questions. If you have any questions, you want us to talk about something, even if it's just a particular subject matter, throw that in the comments below. We are live streaming to our Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Twitch account. We do this every Wednesday at 11, so make sure to tune in live to get your questions answered live. But if you're not seeing this live, you're watching this later, you can still involve yourself. Email us at askwildman@wildmanweb.com. And we will either just respond to you there or maybe talk about your question, your subject next week on Ask Wildman. Also, make sure to visit our website, wildmanweb.com. We've got tons of good resources there. We put out this show as a resource to hopefully provide some value and answer some questions, but we do that in a number of different ways on our website. There's a whole resources tab on our website. If you check that out, we've got tons of articles to help you out on everything. We've got free software and tools. We've got a link to our podcast, which is this show published audio only. So if you're really more of a audio only kind of person, check that out. We've got that wherever podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. And we have this show archived on there. So if we said something smart 3 weeks ago and you want to go look that up, we've got that there in the live stream archives all the way back to, I think, the beginning of the show at some point last year. We should go back and count how many times we've done this. I think we might be surprised.
Yes.
All right. With that.
Did you mention the newsletter in there, Miles?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Let's get a plug in.
Yeah, we've got a newsletter we send out weekly with some really good content in there. I know me and my team all write and contribute to that, and there's exclusive content in there that we don't put anywhere else. So sign up for our newsletter. I'll put a link to that in the comments here below. But if you go to our website, it should pop up there in the corner and let you subscribe to it there. But yeah, there's some exclusive content there that we don't put out on the live stream blog or anywhere else. So if you want the best stuff early and before everyone else, that's newsletter is the place to get it. All right, that is enough for our shameless plugs. We're here to answer your questions. So far, I'm just seeing a pile of bad jokes. Questions, people. We're looking for questions.
If we get desperate, we may tell us a few jokes as well. But I do have a brief news update, Miles, if there aren't any pressing questions down there in the comment section.
No, go for it. News update.
Okay, news update here. I'm sure I missed a whole lot of stuff while I was gone because I was not paying attention to the news. But recently, just a couple of quick things, and then I'm going to actually talk about an opinion piece here, Miles, and open this up for discussion. But a couple of headlines here. Apple doubles down on privacy, further complicating tracking and targeting. And another headline, Google tightens Android policies, shrinking already limited mobile app ad tracking. So basically what is happening here is just a continuation of what's been happening over the course of the last 6 months especially. But Apple, once again, tightening their privacy. This has to do a lot with tracking on all their devices as well as email ID. And so people that are using email on something like an Apple computer or an iPhone, there's going to be advanced basically blocking or masking of your ID on that. So us marketers won't be able to get as much information about who's opening emails and things like that, which was interesting. And then Google has basically done what they already did on iOS to Android now. And so it's going to be really, really hard to get that third-party data, at least accurately, not to say that third-party data is going away completely. And we've covered that several times on the show, just kind of going into what is third-party data, first-party data, and zero-party data, and how you can work around some of these limitations that are being presented to us if you are doing your digital marketing yourself. So if you go back and look at that, we have some articles, I believe, as well up on that. But it also then brought my opinion to an opinion piece here that I think I'll put down in the comment section so everybody can read it, because it's a little lengthy, but I'll summarize at least a little bit of it. The title is "Brands Must Go Beyond Advertising to Connect in a Post-COVID-19 World. The Industry is at a crossroads as less data and consumers could equate with even less effective ads." So anybody who's been watching this show is not a stranger to this topic. Again, we've been discussing it many times.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit over the course of the past 6 months, but it really is a big deal. This is not the death of advertising or anything like that, but it is a shift, or as this opinion piece calls it, a crossroads from where we were certainly the last 10 years, the digital ad space, where everything was really heavily focused on targeting, tracking, remarketing, and all that good stuff. And basically, what this opinion piece is arguing, which I tend to agree with most of what they're saying here, is that brands are going to have to, of course, still do digital marketing. They're going to have to do it more effectively. They're going to have to make more engaging content. They're going to have to make more active type of platforms work for them to engage their audiences. But they're also going to have to engage with them in the real world, in the analog and in the real live space, and as events come back, I think that's something that a lot of people have forgotten a little bit about, what that means for a real person that's a representative of your company to talk to a real person that is a prospective client, or customer at an event that is within that customer's wheelhouse, or that prospective customer's wheelhouse. If I'm selling bike parts, and I show up at a bike race, or I'm a race bike manufacturer, and my people are able to connect with the people who are coming to that race, that's going to be a much more memorable experience than a 30-second ad that they see on Instagram that says, "Buy my stuff," right? So that is something that brands are really going to have to kind of retrain themselves how to do, because the ones that get out there and do it well, I think, are going to be poised for a really big advantage to the ones who aren't. We see over 10,000 ads a day right now, and most of them are ineffective, right? The vast majority of ads, 99.9999999% of them, we could care less about. We forget as soon as it's over, and we move on to the next thing. And so, if you're already spending money on advertising, please audit everything you do. The content that you put out, the copy that you put out, how you're putting it out. Put together a 7-step marketing plan like we've talked about before on the show, so you're spending that money more wisely. But if you are getting ready to advertise, you're planning on advertising, these are the things that you should be thinking about. Is it's an and or a both, not an or. But how can I be more effective, more engaging with my digital content? But how can I also have a real presence and connect with people on a real life level in addition to that? And one of the interesting things, Miles, and they mentioned this in the article, when you look at younger people, and unfortunately I don't know if I fall in that category anymore, but let's take people maybe 30 and younger, maybe even 35 and younger. They are less and less consuming passive media, right? They're certainly not consuming print, but they're even really less consuming television or anything that's passive. So what are they consuming? They're really into video games, right? They're really into things that are interactive. Why is a platform like Clubhouse one of the fastest growing platforms to ever be launched? Because it's interactive, right? We've talked about this, but it's important. It's not top down anymore. It's all around. It's 360-degree marketing. And so the more that we're able to leverage that engagement level, leverage anything that is active or an a way that we can make people take action when they see our messaging and not be passive, that is going to be way, way better for our bottom line in terms of our ROI. What's happening is there's a lot of people out there that are doing old type of advertising, and they're trying to make it work in this new medium, and they're wasting a whole lot of money doing that. And so you got to think, and really, this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody if you've read the 12 causes of advertising, which hopefully, or the 12 causes of bad advertising, the advertising failure, which you should have, by Roy Williams. It goes all the way back 20 plus years. He was talking about this. Don't rely on passive advertising because it doesn't engage people. It doesn't surprise people. It doesn't make people take action. And again, when we're faced with 10,000 ads a day, there's a whole lot of eye rolling, hell, closing your eyes, closing your ears, and trying to tune that stuff out as much as possible. So if we can take the other direction, if we can make content our guiding principle and not just putting out a message like buy my stuff, but we can actually create content that people want to engage in, people want to consume, and maybe if we're doing it really right, that people will want to jump in and do their own content. You know, we talked about this a few weeks ago on the show when we had Anna on with us, and she did several great articles about user-generated content, and we talked about how psychologically that is so powerful to get somebody to be able to create something in line with engaging with your brand. And again, if you look at what the younger people want, they want to create, right? My son, and I've used this example, many times, 14, 15, year old boys, they don't just want to, first of all, they don't watch television. They watch YouTube, but they don't just want to watch YouTube, right? Because that's passive. They want to be creators on YouTube. They are creators on YouTube, right? Like they're making their own YouTube's content. We talked about, what's the guy's name? I'm not hip anymore. Travis Scott, okay? Travis Scott, who, for those of you who aren't hip like me, okay, he's a pop star that all the teenagers are into, right? He did his big album release. This was, I believe, last fall, maybe even last summer.
He's the one that did the Fortnite concert, isn't
right,
he?
Right. He did his big
album. That was
album.
a really creative workaround.
Yeah, I can't
here.
believe
and there's no better name in the game as to creation. I mean, that game is a mix between like a first-person shooter and Minecraft. It's all about making stuff and interacting with people. It's almost like a social experiment, or a social experience, maybe experiment as well,
right?
But more of a social experience than it is just a shooting game.
Exactly, yeah. And that's how I forget if it was his album or his single, or whatever that he launched. But man, that was just an epic, brilliant piece of marketing. And I guarantee you that it worked a lot better than if you would have just taken out a half-page ad in the New York Times or, ran some television commercials or even some Facebook ads, at this point. The fact that it wasn't passive, that it made people engage with it, made people remember it. I'm a 40-year-old man who's never listened to his music, and I still remember that. Now I'm hypersensitive to marketing and stuff like that, so maybe I'm a little skewed. But still, that's what we're talking about. And you may think, well, gosh, I'm not Travis Scott. I can't, do my own Fortnite concert, to launch a product. True, but as a small business, what I'm trying to get you to think about is to think outside the box. Okay, take that $3,000 that you're going to spend on some silly picture in some magazine that's going to sit in a doctor's office this quarter, and put it into creating something that people are going to want to enjoy, comment on, share, and hopefully actually engage and take action with. And once you start doing that, you're going to start seeing a whole big difference in how your marketing is going to play out for you in the long run. So, Miles,
because it's different. That's what really made it stand out. Because, I mean, like you, I wasn't really familiar with the artist. I'm not familiar with the game too much. I'm not a gamer, so I'm completely outside of this circle. And still hearing about that, I'm curious and I want to know. I want to see it. This person that I don't know whose music I'm not familiar with is performing on a platform I don't exist on, and I want in. That is good marketing.
Yeah, so I'm going to put this down here in the comment section. People can read it. Like I said, I thought it was a really good take and hit on a lot of things that we've talked about over the course of the last 9 months or so. So that's all I got here from the news desk, Miles. I'm going to send it back over to you.
Awesome. Well, we are kind of coming up to the end of our show here. We've been going for 15 minutes now, so we're going to wind down for the day. If you do have any questions, please throw them in the comments here or just email us at askwildman@wildmanweb.com. I do have that address scrolling below for you to check in over here.
Okay.
We got a comment here that I don't think is a question, and I don't know what it is, so I'm assuming it's for you.
Is it from
Does the
Jeff?
name Colin Morikawa mean anything to you?
Yes, I think Jeff is throwing in his U.S. Open championship pick right here. So, yeah, we can wrap up the show with a little bit of golf talk. If anybody has anything important to do, you can leave us now. Yeah, but we'll talk a little golf here because it would be good. I think if we stop the show early, we got a lot of stuff to get to here this afternoon. But let's talk some golf. Okay, the United States Open Championship. It's our national championship. It is down there at beautiful Torrey Pines in San Diego, California. Man, that sounds like a nice place to be this week. Okay, we got Jeff's pick, Colin Morikawa. I think it's a fine pick, Jeff. That was the PGA Championship winner in 2020. He's had one win, I believe, on the tour earlier this spring, a couple of key top 10 finishes. A lovely pick. This course, you got to play well around the greens. You got to be great with your wedge. So that's where I'm going with my thought process here. I have not placed a bet yet on somebody, so I'm still, trying to figure out exactly where my money is going to be. But I'll tell you what, when we talk about short game and we talk about bunkers, especially, I like players like Justin Rose. I like players like Patrick Reed. I like players like JT. I love Jordan Spieth. My heart, of course, is with Phil. I think Phil. I think he's focused. I hope he can get it done. I'm still blown away by what he did at the PGA. I think if he does it this year, I told Aiden the other day, my son, I said it may be a greater story than Tiger at the Masters 2 years ago. He disagreed with me, but that's what happens. So I'm definitely pulling for Phil. I think Gary can certainly hang out there. I worry about Gary's wedges, but the fairways are wide enough that he can drop bombs out there and just have little short dingers into the green, hopefully. And if his putter's hot, look out. But I think I'm going to put money on Jon Rahm. I can't really talk myself out of putting money on Jon Rahm at this point. He's one of the greatest short game players out there. He can aim at those bunkers, miss the deep rough, and get up and down all day long. Yes, I know he had COVID last week. He was 6 shots up, though, on the field when he was told he had COVID, so it really didn't affect him that much. I'm hoping he's healthy and ready to go out there and get another win at Torrey Pines. So that is where my money is. My heart, of course, is with Phil and Gary. That's it. I'm out. Good to be back with you, though, today, Miles, and appreciate everybody watching and listening to the show. We'll come back next week with some more fun.
Yeah, and I just threw that newsletter sign up link in the comments for anyone who hasn't signed up already. We actually just sent out our newsletter for this week during this show. So if you are not signed up there, you're missing out on some really good, easy, actionable SEO and keyword research steps that you can take, as well as some other exclusive offers and announcements. So make sure to click that link and subscribe there. We're not going to try to sell you anything on that. It's just good resources. So we'll send that out once a week. Yeah, but that is it from us today. We will see you next Wednesday at 11 live. Tune into Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. And if you want to have your questions answered, then please email us at askwildman@wildmanweb.com, and we'll get to you next Wednesday. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Mike.